Let's take a look at a multiple choice question and see how we can use the mean value theorem to kind of tackle it. So this is saying we've got a twice differentiable increasing function of time. If g of 0 equals 20 and g10 is equal to 220, which of the following must be true on that interval from 0 to 10? And so whenever you're looking for something being true of some t in an interval where you know the values of the endpoints, there are only two possible things that can come up. There is the intermediate value theorem, which means that g has to have every value between 20 and 220 over its range, which none of these are true because these are talking about the first derivative and the second derivative. And the second is the mean value theorem, which says that exactly one point has got to have the same derivative as the slope of the secant line that connects these two endpoints. All right, and so that would be g of 10, that slope would be g of 10 minus g of 0 over 10 minus 0, which is 220 over, well, 220 minus 20 over 10, which is equal to 200 over 10, which is equal to 20. So there has to be some point between 0 and 10 where the slope is equal to exactly 20. And that is what B tells us. All right, so this option says that g prime, the slope of this function is 0 at some point in the interval. We don't know if that's true or not. And the third and fourth options are both talking about the second derivative. And so let's just take a look at a few different graphs. So g of 0 is 20 and g of 10 is 220. Let's say that it looks like this. Could you draw a graph where the second derivative is negative for this entire interval? Well, a negative second derivative would be concave down. So I can make an increase concave down function. I can make it look something like that. So there is a function where g prime of t is nowhere positive, and actually it's not even 0 anywhere. And you can certainly make one, you could certainly make a line, just a line that looks like that. The derivative of that isn't 0 anywhere along that line. So whenever you're talking about the value of some point over an interval, think about the intermediate value theorem and the mean value theorem. And the difference between them is that the intermediate value theorem is going to talk about, if you're discussing a function like g, the intermediate value theorem is going to talk about the values of g between 0 and 10. And the mean value theorem is going to talk about the values of the derivative of g in that interval. If you keep that in mind, you'll be able to spot all of the questions where you're going to be answering with the mean value theorem or the intermediate value theorem on the test.